10 games in, have Aston Villa made a good or bad start to the season? That's the question for you guys. Up the Villa. Hello and welcome back to Up the Villa. If you are new to our channel, make sure you are subscribing. Smash that like button. Let's try and get around 800 likes. Hype the episode up as well. You've all got hype ability, so you can hype the episodes up. And most importantly, comment your thoughts and get involved in everything that we discuss. So this episode is for everyone now. I want you all to vote whether it's been good or bad. I want your positives, your negatives, and I want you to be able to give me a score out of 10 for Aston Villa's season so far. What we're going to do, we're going to run through a little bit of data. We're going to have a look at the numbers of where we're at, what we're doing. And then I've got positives and negatives of all the things that are on my mind right now. And I think let's all just be honest and let's just say how we feel, what we're worried about, what we're positive about. So the data to start with, we've got notes and data. So 10 games in, we've conceded 10 goals and we've scored 9. We are scoring 0.9 goals per game, so nearly at that 1 a game. We have 1.3 big chances per game and 1 big chance missed per game, which is not good because if we score that chance, we're scoring more goals. So that's a big one for me, that we're missing 1 big chance a game. We've kept 3 clean sheets in 10 games, which I think is pretty decent in the Premier League. We know how attacking most teams can be, etc. And 1 goal conceded per game, which is a bit of a problem. The keeper's making 2.1 saves per game. We're having 54.1% possession, 85.5% accurate passing, 92.5% accuracy in our own half, which is good because if we're playing out from the back, 92.5% accuracy in our own half. Even when we move up the pitch, we're very accurate. 75.4% in the opposition half, and we're winning 44.7% of our duels. Right, so the season so far for me has been a bit of a mixed bag. And I'm going to start with my positives first. I'm not starting with negatives first. I think negatives are not as long as the positives, but they're a little bit more, you gotta listen, right? Right. So, my positives so far for the season is that we're in 11th, which is all right. We got 15 points, which is half of what we could have had. So, we could have had 30. But we are 3 points off third, which is Liverpool, and 3 points off Bournemouth in fourth, who we play this weekend coming up. And I think that's the biggest positive for me, in the sense of we started the season really bad. Bad vibe, bad energy, bad. Everything was just bad, unlike anything that we've seen under Unai Emery. And I think a big positive for me is the ability for Unai Emery to have been able to get us back on track, get us back competing, get us in the mix. Yeah, look at league position. Okay, it's not where we want to be, but 3 points off third is not bad at all. And the league is quite congested. So, but I think that for me is a real big positive. Where we've been, where we've come from, how we've been able to recover. But now it's about going to that next step and not having the next 10 games like the first 10. So other positives, 4 wins. Fulham, Burnley, you'd expect to beat. Spurs City, massive. That was a real positive for me, in the sense of we looked like an Unai Emery team. It felt normal. It felt very Villa Emery, which I think, again, is a positive. We've had 3 draws: Everton, Sunderland, Newcastle. I think the Everton draw might be a good draw come the end of the season if they keep performing how they are at home. Sunderland draw, again, if they keep performing how they are at home, that might be a decent point. And Newcastle, I think, a tough game, 2 teams competing with each other, a decent point. The 3 losses are pretty bad. Now, Brentford, not a good one. Now, I see Palace, and so I see something online about, oh, well, we're expected to lose that because it's Palace. I don't think that's the case. Like, just because we've got a bad record against Palace doesn't negate whether it's okay to lose against them. We need to find a way to beat this Glasner team. So that probably should have been in negative. So yeah, 3 losses in negative, and then the Liverpool, not great. So we are 10th in the home form table, and we are 8th in the away form table. Other positives I've got written down is that the recovery from the summer, which I've kind of alluded to. Big wins against Spurs City felt very Emery. Winning without Tielemans, I think, is a positive, because when you look at a makeup of a team and you look at how a team performs, and we can look at Yuri Tielemans and go, he was our best player last season. So the fact that we are winning and doing okay without him is a positive for me. And he's coming back soon, so that should help Villa get better, which is a really good aspect. And then I've got positives regarding some of the players. Matty Cash, I think he's when I was doing this list, the list has got a few players on it, but he was the first one that I wrote down, Matty Cash. And right back has been a bit of a problem for Villa, but he has been very good this season, scoring goals. I've loved his work rate and work ethic, which I think has seeped into the team. Dare I say he's been a bit of a leader for Villa. I think I've seen interviews after games where he looks calm, comfortable, mature. I think he's been fantastic. The revival of Emi Buendia has been eye-opening. I didn't expect it. And dare I say it again, we missed him at the weekend against Liverpool. So he needs to come back, because he epitomises everything that this Emery Aston Villa team is. Ezri Konsa has gone up another level. Whether Villa are good or bad, he's always good. And that's very pleasing to see. In my opinion, he's a Villa captain. I think he's that good. England, he's gone up levels. He'll be starting at the World Cup for me. Very good. John McGinn dragged us through it. He dragged us through that bad period. And I think he deserves credit. Consistency of Digne. Kamara looks back to his best. So those are, for me, players that have excelled so far this season. I feel like we're in the mix in Europe as well. Generally, I'm talking Premier League on this show, but we're in the mix. We're doing all right. The win at Feyenoord was decent. And generally, I think we're in the mix of the Premier League for Europe, which is where we need to be. I saw an interview of Pep saying that he doesn't look at the table and he's not interested in a title race until next year. And do I believe him? He's having a look, isn't he? He's having a look at the table. But I do get it to an extent, and Emery's kind of alluded to this over the years, that game week 32, ask me about Champions League, game week 32. Look at it towards the end. But for me, as long as we're in the mix, while we're still probably a little bit up and down, just stay in the mix, and we're in the mix, right? Do I believe we can get better this season? Yes. But the fact that we're in that mix gives me a little bit of positivity as well. So I think that is a massive positive. The defence looks tighter. I think we're not conceding loads and loads of goals. We're conceding like one a game, aren't we? Which is not great. But we do, eye test, we do look a bit solid and resolute. We're keeping the odd clean sheet as well, which is good. The Rodgers recovery, I think from him being in poor form to now being good form, I think that's a positive, that he's looking back to his best. And I think the other positive is Unai Emery. We have been in a bad place so far early on in the season, and his recovery and him doubling down on his philosophy and his mentality and the way he wants to work and his intensity was what dragged us out of that sort of little bit of a mire. So he deserves massive credit, because without him, we could have just been like that all season, but we weren't. So those are my positives, and I think there's a lot of positives in there. And I think the season is still there for Villa. But it's about being consistent. It's about raising the levels. It's about playing well. It's about scoring goals. It's just about being better and working hard. So those are my positives. Let me just have a sip of this for the negatives. Negatives. A lack of goals and being on minus goal difference is a slight concern. And it should be a slight concern, but it actually should be a big concern. Because we missed out on Champions League football last season on goal difference. And we're currently on a minus. Now, going into the weekend, we were on a positive. So we conceded 2 goals, so we went to -1. So we, as Brucey would say, we're there or thereabouts. But I would like us to be on like +7, +8. Just comfortable now, and you just keep it ticking over. The fact that we go down and up and down and up and down and up on it, and we don't score enough goals to break away from the 0 mark, is a slight concern. But this now leads me into my next point. Ollie Watkins. I'm a little bit concerned about Ollie Watkins' start to the season. So he's got a SOFA score rating of 6.47, 10 appearances, 1 goal, no assists. But the biggest element to this is his XG. It's only at 1.74. So I think part of it for me is on a bit of Watkins and part of it is on the rest of the team. Because this shows me that he's not missing loads and loads of chances. Because he's only on an XG of 1.74. So yeah, he probably should have like 1 more goal. So the service into him probably isn't good enough. But I need more goals here. Because I look at Watkins as a seasoned pro now in the Premier League. And I look at him as like, he's got experience. And when you look at players like Harry Kane, you go, guaranteed 20 goals. You look at certain other players, the guaranteed goals. We should be looking at Watkins now and going, that's our guaranteed goals. So before anything else, before we go into a season, we know we're going to get, for example, his best season, 19 goals from him. So if you get 19 and a base of 19, you need to just add everywhere else. And at the minute, there's not enough goals there. And I do, like I say, I do think it's a collective. Yuri Tielemans being out hasn't helped because we know he's got the vision to feed him from central midfield. I love Onana at times. I think he's great. I think he's got so much potential. We need to see it more and more. Manchester City game, for example, perfect. Liverpool, okay, he was slightly better than Kamara. So Tielemans in there, forward-thinking Tielemans, better for Ollie Watkins. So that should help with the XG, the goals, etc. But I do need to see a little bit more now. I need to see tighter control, better hold up, create something for yourself, be selfish. There was that moment in Liverpool where, yeah, we hit the post with Rodgers, but there was an opportunity for him to get it and take it and shoot. But loose touch, luckily we found Rodgers who hit the post. So it is a slight concern for me because he's only got 1 goal. You know, and I'm sure if he was sat next to me now and I said, are you happy with the start of the season and how many goals you got? He'd go, no. So I think that's fair in what I'm saying. Like, I am a massive Watkins fan. He's on my wall. Like, he's on my wall. So I can't be seen to be being really negative to him because I am probably one of his biggest praisers and his admirers. But I got to see more from him, to be honest. I got to see link up with Rodgers. I spoke about that at the weekend. How have we not got no partnership there? It looks like connected, disjointed. So that area for me, he's got to score more goals. So hopefully, Bournemouth and Tel Aviv, we're bagging goals. We need more goals across the front line. Kind of alluded to that I think we need more from McGinn, more from Rodgers, who looks better. I think we definitely need that, and I think everybody would agree with that. And then my next negative is regarding slightly recruitment leading into certain players. We got no wingers and we got no width on the right, which is a big problem. And the fact that we got no width on the right has had to mean that Emery changes how we play, which is okay. We've managed to play well. We're playing central. We're doing well. But I think when I look at that right-hand side and I'm looking at Evan Gesson, and to be honest, I'm not going all in on Gesson. I think there's elements to his game defensively that I rate, work rate. I think he's good. But on the ball, I just need to see a lot more from Gesson. Hopefully, that can come. But then that leads me into Harvey Elliott. It's a negative. Where is he? I want to see him playing. And I'll be honest, does it feel like we don't want to sign him right now? I don't think anybody could disagree with that, because if not, where he'd be in the squad. You know, to not be in the squad against Man City, I'm just not buying the fact that we wanted to use and go with a different profile. I think he needs to be in the squad. Would Rodgers be not in the squad? No. Would Watkins? No. Would McGinn? No. So someone like Elliott, I don't think he probably should have been out of it anyway. So this week's going to be really telling, because we've got a game against Tel Aviv. Now, if he's not playing against Tel Aviv and he's not starting and he's not coming on and he's not getting no minutes, then that tells me that he's not signing for Aston Villa. Surely that tells me that, because if he can't play against Tel Aviv at home in the Europa League, then he's not playing against Bournemouth at home, is he? So that's where I'm at with that situation. The right-hand side needs unlocking. Yes, we can put McGinn there. He can invert. Rodgers can go left. Buendia, etc. We've got all different options, but we need to work on that right-hand side for me. The next negative was Go Ahead Eagles. And I remember after the game, we was on a decent run and I reacted really disappointingly to it, because for me, it's the mentality at times where I want us to start thinking like a big club. We're competing with big clubs, but at times let's start acting like one. You go 1-0 up, okay, fine. You miss a load of chances, okay, fine. You go 1-1, okay, fine. It can happen in football. But don't let that game go to a place where we know it can go. You know, I remember back in the day, Doncaster. I remember watching us against Doncaster and Wickham. It had that Stevenage. It had that feel to it, right? So over the years, we've seen that performance before, and I don't like it. I want us to be big enough now as a squad and a club to not go to those places. Look, it can happen in football, can't it? But it's a familiar little trait that I've seen a few times. So away from home, let's not get into that situation. Let's collectively be a better and a stronger unit. So I've got written down be stronger, belief, Liverpool second half. I sensed it. I sensed we never thought we'd get back in it. And we had that long spell of possession from about 75 to 90. Get a goal, anything can happen. Just have that belief. Have that belief and just be confident. And just don't let it affect you. We went 1-0 down at Spurs and we was able to turn that around. Perfect. Absolutely brilliant. But against Go Ahead, who we are far superior, we let it all affect us. And I think in Europe, could I see that happening again? Yeah, I could see it happening again, because the crowd, etc., not being comfortable. So learn from it and not let it happen again. When it goes 1-1, go ahead. Go ahead, guys. Remember, switch on, be stronger. Someone just say, give me the ball. I'll have it. Just keep giving it me. I'll keep popping it. I'll keep feeding it. We're not losing this game. So I think that's what we kind of need to have. And then my final negative, which I actually feel like it should turn into a positive, is play Sancho, give Sancho game time. The big thing about Sancho is he doesn't lose the ball. He doesn't give away the ball. Now, if we've got Gesson on the opposite side, who had 12 touches against Liverpool and gave away 8, Sancho's on the left who doesn't give the ball away. That's one of his biggest traits. A little bit like Grealish at City. Just keep giving him the ball. If he has to just pop it off easy, that's fine. But he will drive and he will try and put the cross in. One thing I've noticed with him is I think it could look that he's not confident at times or he lacks conviction. But I don't think when I watch him that he puts in just dead balls. And what I mean by that is he doesn't just cross it for the crossing's sake. So he could be on that left-hand side and there's nothing on in the box. He won't just cross it. He'll wait for the right moment and actually feel like that's good from him. So I feel like I want to see a little bit more from Sancho, especially against Tel Aviv. So, I think that there's positives, signs there. And another player I think is looking pretty decent is Barkley. He's coming on and being Emery's little sort of added tempo setter with the ball, look after the ball, and drive with it a little bit. And the other thing that you got to remember with a couple of these players is that I haven't had a pre-season. So Sancho and Barkley haven't really had a pre-season. So they're kind of getting back up to speed. So those are my little areas on a couple of those players. So we had 639 votes on our YouTube community. And the rating system was as follows. 0 to 4, Villa fans rated with 5% saying our season's 0 to 4. 77% is 5 to 6. 7 to 8, 17%. And 9 to 10 is 1%. So those are the votes of 639 Villa fans. My rating is going to be a 6. I'm going slightly better than 5. I think if you looked at the league table and we got 15 points out of 30, you'd go 5. We've had a bad start, but we've recovered and beat Man City, who I watched them against Bournemouth, and they were unreal. And we beat Spurs away. So we've shown that we can compete now, but we've got to just fine-tune the system, get Yuri back, get Rodgers up a notch, Watkins needs to score more, Elliott needs to be integrated more, Marlon probably needs to play more, defence okay. So I feel a 6 is all right. We in the league where we need to be not points wise, but from say 3rd place, etc. So not bad for me, but we can be better. We can go up more. We need better consistency from the next 10. So I think what we'll do is the next 10, we'll do exactly the same again. We'll see where we are. And we should have a bigger picture. I imagine the league will probably have stretched out a little bit. Let's hope we've just stretched out with it and gone with the top teams. So hopefully you've all enjoyed this episode. I think it's been a quite a lot insightful one, to be honest. Got my cardigan, got my notebook, got my little, what's it called, remarkable. So you write on it and you can like rub that out and it saves it. So I felt like before I was getting through loads of paper and you can't you got to chuck it in the bin, ain't you? So I just thought, get this, you can rub it out and save it. So what I might do, I'll save this one and then I'll come back to it in 20 and I'll see whether any of the things that I've done on this have changed and whether we've improved in certain areas. So, Villa fans, let me know your thoughts. I really want to know where you're at, where you're thinking. Good, bad, positive, negatives, and your score. Up the Villa.